Hello everyone, my name is Shupan and I'm a third year student with a Diploma in Game Design and Development. Let me start off this session by showing you a short video about our course.
I don't want them to think anything is wrong with me.
Hello again. I hope the video has given you more insight about our game course. Today, we have with us our manager, Mr. Malcolm Grant, who will share more about the Diploma in Game Design and Development. Hello, Mr. Malcolm. Gaming is an area that continues to attract people across all age groups, with more and more people playing different types of games. Could you share with me the kinds of games that our students are developing in this course?
Of course. Our students generally make 2D and 3D games. They start off in year 2 by building their first game. It's not the most complex game, but they use Unity game engine and game assets. They can also use their own assets to make the game. Then they'll learn how to make more complex games using networking and multiplayer aspects and perhaps even some AI. And by year 3, our students will be working on real industry projects, working together to develop interesting, serious games. Most of these games bring together students who are both game designers and game developers. Here's some examples of games.
Well, that's pretty interesting. But what kinds of skills do students learn in the course to produce such games?
Well, our students all undertake a common year 1 curriculum. This equips them with a strong IT foundation in areas such as programming, user experience, and interface design, as well as data analytics. In year 2 and 3, students will acquire more specialized skills to create games. Our curriculum has a good balance of both game design and game development subjects. In terms of design, we offer subjects such as game design, game modeling, game UI, UX. And in terms of development, we offer obviously game development, game AI, and mixed reality application development. We train the students primarily for roles such as game designers and game developers. They can also take on roles as application developers and UI, UX designers.
Can you share a little bit about what some of our graduates have gone on to do?
Yeah, of course. One of our recent graduates was Richmond Lim. He graduated in 2017, and while he was doing NS, he developed his first game and released it. It had 100,000 downloads, and to me, I think that's quite impressive. He's now started his own startup company, and he's working on a sequel. Another student that comes to mind is Kong. He joined DigiPen after finishing our course, and he's been working in various companies as well as some big games such as Disney Crossy Roads. He's working at Tencent, and now he's working at Apple.
Oh, what are some of the further studies options after the diploma?
Well, our students have a great choice. They can go to a wide variety of different universities. A number of students may choose to go for DigiPen, and if they're interested in game development. While some of the other students, they may want to focus on more computer science, and they would do degrees at NUS, NTU, SMU.
Seems like there are many options there now. Mr. Malcolm, I understand that you worked for many years as a game developer. Could you share with us some of the things that you did during this time?
Of course. Well, I started out as a youngster with the computer. I was able to play games, and that obviously got me interested. I realized that that computer could do some programming, so I started with my first programming language. I went to the library and got out some books, and sometimes the lines of code just wouldn't work. It took me a bit of time to realize there wasn't a universal language. So I took some time, I moved on to different machines and developed applications in other languages. Eventually, I worked on video games. I developed a good number of games, applications, and things in between with a group of like-minded individuals, and we released these as free to download and share even before I finished university. With all this experience, I got a job in the games industry. So I've managed to work on all the various hardware manufacturers to do with console, Sega, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. As a game designer, I'd be the first person on the team to develop a game, coming up with the conceptualization for the game design, and right up into the implementation within the level design. I'd be programming, and I've almost programmed on almost every game I've worked on. And then right at the end, when we're putting all these parts together, I'd be the last person on the team, making all the small adjustments to polish before the game is finished.
Thank you, Mr. Malcolm, for sharing with us about your experience and about the diploma in game design. I'm sure this has been really useful for students considering choosing a course in the Polytechnic. Let's now talk to a few of our current students. Hi, let's begin with you, Pierre. I understand you started your game modules in year 2. Could you share with us what you had learned and what was your experience during year 2?
Yeah, sure. So during year 2, where we started our game modules, so we started with game design, game modeling, and game development.
So how was game design and game modeling?
So let's start with game design. So game design is the foundation of creating a game. And a good game design is one that reaches out to the audience and want them to come back for more. This is also one of the subjects that was most difficult for me because I'm not that creative of a person in general. But we do learn skills to work around this during the module. So some interesting ideas is by combining 2 different games and come up with a whole new interesting idea of its own. So for me, I created a game that combines tower defense and first-person shooter, creating a different game for mobile phone that is rarely seen. So here you can see some images of the sketches that I made for the game. As you can see, the images are not that well sketched, but they are still usable for the game developer. Okay, let's move on to game modeling. Game modeling was one of the subjects that I was looking forward to when I joined this diploma, as I was able to create something from my imagination for the first time. Through the use of 3D modeling softwares and with the help of my lecturers, I was able to learn tips on how to improve my modeling skills while I was doing up low resolution models. The most interesting model that I created, I would say, will be the turret, the enemy, and the player, as the 3 of these were not modeled after anything in real life, but instead out of my own imagination. So they are not the best models out there that can be seen, but it was fun creating them.
So those 2 subjects were more on the game design aspect, and it sounds like you enjoyed them quite a bit. What about game development? Well, how was coding like for you?
So in game development, we are taught how to program our design game in C# using Unity engine. In the beginning, it was a bit difficult to get a hang of programming, as there were so many things to learn. But my lecturer was a great help in the way that he teaches his lessons with the slides that he has created. It made understanding the fundamentals of programming a lot easier, while also making it more fun in the process. I was able to ask for help when I do not understand something, which helped me progress faster than expected. Because of this, I actually enjoy programming now. Here are some images of the game that I programmed. As you can see, the modded characters are actually inside the game, and you can see that the health bar is above, which was programmed into the game itself. And everything else was designed through game design. So yeah.
Thank you, Pierre. Next, we will hear from Christy, who is also a third-year student in GDD. Hi, Christy. Could you share with us about a Year 3 subject that you took?
Sure. From before, you heard from Pierre that in Year 2, we took up the 3 core modules: game modeling, game design, and game development. In Year 3, we have game artificial intelligence, also known as game AI, and mixed reality. I'll be talking more about the Year 3 module game AI. Game artificial intelligence, game AI, is a way to emulate intelligence in our non-playable characters. In this case, we are giving players the impression that their opponents are capable of strategizing and thinking much like a normal human, except restricted in its reactions. It is purely following the programmer's code, with a few different choices it can make in different scenarios. One of the first methods we learn in game AI are the finite state machines. They are used to show the flow of states that the machine can take, each state containing a specific action and a condition that must be met to execute that state. I have created a cleaning robot that can execute states, such as mopping, sweeping, and patrolling. This is one of the examples of the state machine controlled characters. I have also created a behavior tree to control the actions of a dragon randomly, detailing each state as a branch of that tree.
Thanks, Christy. Now, I have one more question for Mr. Malcolm. So, Mr. Malcolm, what kind of opportunities are there for GDD graduates?
GDD students have a great opportunity. The industry needs people with game industry experience. They're able to deal with deadlines, changing software and hardware requirements, and generally have better programming skills and are versatile for the industry's needs.
Finally, we'll move on to our question and answer session, where we'll take your questions live. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I think my name is Dr. Nalaka. I am the course chair for the Diploma in Game Design and Development. And just now you saw some of our students, Chufan, Pierre, Christy, and our manager, Mr. Malcolm. Okay, so I'm here today to take any of your questions live right now. So feel free to go ahead and type in on the chat box there, whatever questions you'd like to ask us. Okay, I got the first question here. It says, do you guys use apps like Roblox or Scratch to create games to start off with? So basically for the Diploma in Game Design and Development, we use from Year 2 onwards, Unity. So Unity is our base. So all our students start learning how to develop their very first game from the second year. Okay, if you just recall, the first year is a common year where we teach them the fundamentals of IT, okay, including coding, networking, analytics. Okay, that's a really important foundation. And from Year 2, immediately from the beginning of Year 2, you start developing your own games. Okay, and that's through a combination of Unity as well as game modeling, game design, and game development. That'll be like your first semester in the second year. So, okay, the next question says, what programming language is often used in programming games? So basically, because we're using Unity at the beginning of Year 2, you'll be using the C# or .NET, okay, as your base, okay? But in the first year, you will start learning other programming languages. You will learn things like Java, you'll learn things like Python. And then when you start going on to the Year 2 subjects that focus on gaming, it'll be mainly on the C# and the Unity game engine. Okay, the next question asks, where will we go for internships? Internships, so basically for the Diploma in Game Design and Development, our focus is really to develop people who are very strong in the programming coding area so that they can go and do internships in many areas. Okay, so of course for our Year 3 students, they can typically go into game studios. Okay, they can go into SMEs, they can go into any industry where they need to create simulations, AR applications, augmented reality applications, mixed reality applications. So all those opportunities exist, and they exist in many different domains. So the domains can be in hospitality, the domain can be in education. So we have students, when they go out for internship, they're really creating games, assets, simulations, trainings for different industries. Okay, the next question is, how different is TP's game design and development course compared to other polytechnics? Okay, so what TP's course is, how TP's course is positioned is basically we do design as well as development according to the name. So we have dual skills that we come out of. So we expect students to come into the diploma to be able to do modules such as game design, game UI UX, okay, game modeling, okay, where you create your own assets. You don't have to be able to draw. Okay, if you do draw, that's your additional talent, that's an advantage for you. Okay, we don't expect people, it's not an art course. Okay, and then at the same time, you also learn the development skills, the technology, the coding skills. We have subjects such as game development, programming game engines, game AI. Okay, all those go into really building up your game coding development skills. It's important to take note that when you do games in year 3, okay, when you do your year 3 projects, for example, we bring together different people to develop a game. If you just saw in the video earlier, there was a game, one game mentioned was Lion City. Lion City was developed by 5 people, okay, and those 5 people included 3 developers and 2 artists, and that game took them about 3 to 4 months to develop. And it's a lot of work. And basically, for such a game, they actually created all their assets from the scratch. That means they didn't use existing assets. So therefore, there was a need for people who had that certain skill of artists as well to come in to work. But as a student, you will learn all the skills, okay, on designing, modeling, development, and also, to be able to be a person who can even go and do your own startups, just like that was mentioned earlier for Richmond, who creates his own games right now, and he's had his own startup company as well. So there are different options that can happen. Okay, so the next question is, are we going to learn to make games for console? So basically what you learn, you're going to learn the principles of games that can be applied to different areas. But we are mainly using the Unity engine. Okay, but of course, whatever games you create will be able to be deployed in different environments, different hardware platforms, etc. Okay, but for us, we want to make sure that what you learn here will be the really strong foundation of game skills that can be applied to any platform. Okay, the next question here is, hi, what is TP Fundamentals? So TP Fundamentals is basically a set of subjects that every student at TP, every student who joins Temasek Polytechnic must take. Okay, they are basically to focus on the holistic education for you. So the TP fundamental subjects include everything from leadership to critical thinking to sports and wellness to global studies. So it's really to give you make sure every TP student who comes out has this holistic education. So that's what we refer to as TP fundamentals. Okay, the next question I have here is, will we make board games? So when I talk about, in the game diploma, we're really creating everything is digital games. So basically, games for different platforms. Now those games can take different variations. You can have mobile games, and within the mobile game, you can have different genres. You can have platformer games. You could have board games. It's really up to your imagination. So when, for example, you start developing your very first game in year 2, we do give you that flexibility to choose the kind of genres you want to develop and to choose the types of games. So it really gives, so we have students who come out after their very first semester in year 2 with a whole bunch of games. Okay, and it's really broad and open-ended. Okay, the next question I have is, what are the basic skills we will learn in this course, and what do we possibly need? Okay, so basically, as I mentioned, and I think it was mentioned in the video as well, in the first year, everybody starts with the basics of information technology or computing skills. So these skills assume, even if you do not know any coding, that's fine. Okay, a large number of students who come into School of Informatics and IT and the Diploma in Game Design and Development don't have a lot of coding experience, and that's okay. We teach you from the basics. We teach you from the fundamentals coming in. Okay, what we want you to be able to do when you do join a course such as the Diploma in Game Design and Development or any other course in the School of Informatics and IT, we want you to be interested in this area that you're applying for, and it's something that you would want to either work in or do further studies in the future, basically. So in terms of that, that is what we really require. If you have some coding skills, if you have some artwork or design, that's great. That will help you. Okay, but it's not really a requirement. We just want you to have that interest and that passion for the course that you join. Okay, will we learn how to, the next question is, will we learn how to customize and tweak existing games? Yes, you will learn all these areas as well. As part of doing your year 2 and year 3 subjects, you will be exposed to these kind of things to understand how to improve games, how to improve game ideas, okay, how to take another person's game idea and make it better. And all that things you will learn in different modes. And that will be part of the experience to help you understand not only a single genre, but all the different types of genres within the games industry as well. Okay, again, if you have more questions, please feel free to type it in the chat box over here. Okay, so the next one I have here is what kind of software do you use to develop the games? I think I mentioned briefly was, again, we primarily use Unity as our engine. Okay, so you will be learning a lot of your modules from year 2 onwards, year 2 and year 3 within that engine. Of course, we do have students who like to learn other engines, so that's fine, and that's possible, but our primary teaching will be using Unity for the game development side. Okay, and we'll use the modeling tools will be the standard modeling tools we use, such as Maya, etc. Okay, the next question is, the games shown earlier were all single player. So will the course teach us how to make solely single player, or maybe we can get to learn how to make multiplayer games? Yes. Okay, that's a good question. Basically, in year 2, in the first semester, you will start with a single player game, which is your first experience developing a game. But when you go on to the second semester of year 2, you will start being introducing to multiplayer, networking, all that, so you can extend your games or even create games from scratch that are multiplayer. One of the modules we do that in is called Programming Game Engines, which focuses on multiplayer games. And then when you go on to year 3, you also bring in the elements of AI, okay, how to beef up those games as you go to the 3rd year as well. Okay, the next question is, are we able to choose what we are able to like? If I'm not good in drawing, I can do 3D. Yeah, you don't have to be good in drawing. It's not necessary. Because all the modeling we do is we're using the software to do the modeling. Okay, I don't know if you saw it early in the video. One of my students, Pierre, talked about the models. He wasn't that fantastic in creating the models. Okay, but that's fine. You don't have to be good at drawing when you join the course. We do have lots of students who join who are not able to draw, so that is fine. No issue at all. Okay, because we're using the software to create all the models. Okay, the next question is, by the end of the course, how many games would we have roughly made? Okay, so basically, let's say in this second year, first semester, you will start to create your own games. Okay, now the number of games you create is actually not limited. For each of your modules, you'll be able to create games. So you could have at least 3 or 4 games within that second year. And then when you go on to your 3rd year, you could have another 3 or 4 more games easily. Now, saying that, we have had students who actually go and create and upload their games on the Google Play Store, Apple, etc., and they continue creating them. So we've had students who graduate from this diploma in game design development with at least 7 to 10 games. And these are games that have been uploaded professionally, and then we have people who download them. So it really is up to you. Okay, we will teach you a baseline of set of games that you will come out with in year 2 and year 3, but we will also encourage you to create more games that is beyond the classroom. Okay, the next question is, if I have past experience with basic 3D modeling and such, will it possibly help me get in? Also, will we use Blender for 3D modeling and rigging? Yes. The answer to both questions is yes. If you have past experience, and we do have students who have experience with 3D modeling, okay, whether it's from their own enrichment or whether it's from ITE or different areas, that helps you. Yeah, definitely does help you, and it gives you an advantage. Okay, but if you also don't have it, it's fine. Just like the drawing thing, we will teach everybody on the 3D modeling. We will teach everybody on all the coding as well. But it is an advantage if you do have it, yes. Okay, the next question is, how long will making a game for a project usually take? This actually really depends. It depends on the complexity of the game, the number of levels. I mean, I showed you earlier, like in the final year, we have groups of 5 working on massive projects. Okay, it again depends on, but if you're a single person, like I mentioned, Richmond Lim, who went and created his own game while he was in NS, okay, he did everything for that. He was able to do it on his own. But then the games that we create for big companies, okay, require maybe 3 to 5 people. The reason being because those are complex games. Okay, and then sometimes it depends. Do I need to create my own assets? Can I buy the assets and then put them into the game? So it kind of varies. So my answer is really, it really depends. So what we've had students who do the single player games, they come out with very fast. Okay, we also have students who come out with very elaborate games that are a team effort really, and they spend maybe as much as 6 months on a really big game. Okay, the next question, does the course take students to try new unreleased games? As part of your game design, for example, okay, you would be exposed to the different genres of games. And then the lecturers in those courses would, of course, talk about some of the new games, some of the classic games in the classic genre, as well as new games. And there will be a discussion because, for example, in game design, it will give you ideas. Okay, what can I do that's new based on what's currently available in the market? Okay, because game design is also coming up with your own games. So you have to come up with game pitching and all that stuff, game design document. So all that requires you to kind of know what's in the market right now. Okay, ranging from the very classic games to what's really out there and it's very popular right now. So yeah, you will have you will be shown these kind of games in the sense of within your classroom. Okay, the lecturer will talk about these games and give you an idea about what these kind of games. Okay, as part of the industry visits we have here at the Diploma in Game Design and Development, we do typically take students to game companies. Okay, depending on the situations. Of course, right now because of COVID and safety management measure it's a bit different. Okay, but previously before that, yeah, there would be industry visits where students can go and see game companies, startup companies, different types of things. Yes. Okay, the next question is, can we choose our specialization whether in art or programming? For game creation, you guys are using Unity or Unreal Engine. Okay, so basically in the Diploma in Game Design and Development, there is no specialization track. Okay, basically what we have is everybody does the same set of subjects. So they're all diploma core subjects. Okay, so yeah, and what happens is within that diploma core subjects, we kind of mix the game design and the game development subjects. So you have a mix of design and a mix of programming subjects. So that way, everybody gets that. So we have everybody getting the range of skills. Okay, and for game creation, as I mentioned earlier, was that we are using Unity as our primary game engine for all the game programming subjects from year 2 onwards. Okay, the next question is, if you have previous history with art, will it be useful to the course? Yes, most definitely it will be useful. Okay, so we do have students who come in to our course from, for example, from early admissions. We have a large number who come in from early admission. And a lot of them come in with portfolios regarding their artwork. They show us their portfolios, for example, and it definitely is helpful because, as I was mentioning it earlier, when we do a lot of the complex games, we need artists as well as coders to come together to develop the very complex games. Okay, the next question is, what further education opportunities are available after this diploma course? Okay, so basically, when students come to the diploma in game design and development, there are a couple of things, a couple of types of students when they leave the course. Okay, there are students who are interested in pursuing a game further studies. Okay, so when they do game further studies, they can go to game degrees such as the one at DigiPan, for example, under the Singapore Institute of Technology, where a lot of our students go to do the game design course, a game design and user experience degree program at DigiPan. Now, there are also students who, when they finish a game design and development course, they want to go and do a computer science degree. Okay, a computer science degree. Okay, so then they also go to other courses such as at NUS, NTU. Okay, they're going to SMU. Okay, the reason being that happens is because our game design and development course is really based on a foundation of coding in the first year, so that builds that foundation. So when you go to year 2, year 3, you use your coding in developing games, but then also if you want to do further studies in coding outside of games, you can also do that. And for those who want to do continue with games, they can also do that. So there are a wide different set of further education opportunities for our students when they pursue our university. Okay, the next question is, would past projects help even if it's incomplete? Yeah, definitely. Past projects would definitely help. They are part of your portfolio. And one of the things we do here at the Diploma in Game Design Development, we very strongly encourage students to build their portfolio of games, either it's beforehand, before they join a diploma, okay, and also when they're in the diploma. So as they go through the different courses, they learn single-player games, they learn how to infuse networking, multiplayer games, they learn AI, they learn even mixed reality, augmented reality. So that becomes, all those different assets, all those different games become part of their portfolio. And that's definitely very important, especially when you go out to work after you graduate from this course. Next question is there any particular subject we must be good in to enter this course? Okay, the minimum entry requirements, of course, for any polytechnic course is, of course, that there's a certain number of points, 26 or below, and you must also have the English and Maths. So you have to be able to pass English and Maths. That's important. Okay, but other than that, the rest are your best subjects that you do. It's more important that you have a passion or interest to develop games. Okay, and a lot of the games we do, we don't only develop games for entertainment. Okay, we also do games for social justice, social good. We also create games for the community, for volunteering. We also create games, serious games. Okay, so it's not only entertainment. So there are lots of value in the kinds of games you create that helps impact society, give back to society in different ways. The next question is, will someone's portfolio be able to change the mind of the school on who gets accepted or rejected? So basically, if you talk about portfolio, okay, one of the ways portfolio comes in is when typically students do early admissions exercise for the Diploma in Game Design and Development. So a portfolio can be a very useful and very important part of the early admissions process. Okay, and we see nearly a lot of students bring in their portfolio. The portfolio can be as simple as artwork, okay, some sketches. It can be, I tried Scratch, and this is what I created in Scratch. Okay, or I tried some other game, and this is why I tried it out. Okay, could be a design of a website. Those can be all portfolio, and that can really help build your chances, especially when you are going through early admissions exercise. Yes. Okay, currently I'm an intern, but I don't have any knowledge about programming. What should I prepare if I'm entering in this course? As I studied game art and have zero knowledge of having tried Java or coding. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, we have lots of students who join the course who don't have any knowledge of Java or any coding, and that's okay. Okay, because we will teach you from the beginning. But if you have time before you join the course, it'll be good to pick up some coding skills. There are lots of online courses, free, okay, that you can try, whether it's Java, whether it's Python, pick it up, because the coding skills is very similar. Every language is very similar. So if you pick up one language, you'll be able to use those skills in, let's say, C# or Java when you join this course, for example. So it's good to try out any of these online courses. Okay, most of them majority of them are free. They take maybe a couple of hours to a couple of days, and you get to try online building simple things. That is very useful if you have. But again, saying that, do remember that we don't expect the students to know any coding when they come in. From the first year onwards, they are taught from the basics. So in the first semester, you start with Java. Okay, then with mobile app development using Android. In the second semester of the first year, you will go on to web application development with JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and you'll also learn Python in there. So all those skills are also taught you from the beginning. Okay, so if you don't have time, it's also fine. Okay, next question is, are we going to learn how to make music for a game? Okay, so basically things like sound and audio and things like that, those are things that we will provide guidance. There is no separate subjects for that, but we do have modules in our curriculum under TP Fundamentals. We have modules such as guided learning. Guided learning is where students can decide what they want to learn that is not within the curriculum of the Diploma in Game Design and Development. So we've had students take up guided learning where they want to develop their own animation, they want to develop their own sound, put music into an existing game. And those are things that are given to students. It's one module in the second year that students can try, and they can try anything and everything in that module. It doesn't have to be within the game area, but it can be, as long as it's something that's not taught in the diploma. So there are opportunities for that through different modules. Okay, the next question is, besides making our own game, will we be able to find out what makes existing games tick, sort of a behind-the-scenes type? Yes, certainly you will be able to. Okay, once you start doing the game subjects in year 2, you will be exposed to all the intricacies of games. I mean, earlier in the video, if you were watching, you would have seen Mr. Malcolm, one of our lecturers. Okay, for example, he teaches game design. Okay, so as part of those modules, even game module, you'll kind of learn what goes on in games, and from there you try to build your own things from there. Okay, the next question is, what kind of jobs do your graduates take up? Okay, the kind of jobs that graduates take up, because we are developing two types. Our basic job roles that we prepare our graduates for are game developers and game designers. Okay, so that's the job role. Now, being a game developer, game designer does not mean you only have to work in a game studio, as I mentioned in one of the earlier parts of the questions. You could be working in any industry that requires people to come up with creative entertainment content, okay, in the form of simulations, in the form of training, form of educational games. So it can be across the board. Okay, in addition to game developer and game designers, our students, because they have a very good foundation of programming, they can take up IT-related jobs. They could become application developers. Okay, even they can go and do artist kind of jobs as well, which is fine. Okay, so we kind of have a wide range of jobs that are available for our students. Okay, I think we are coming to the end already. So I think we managed to answer all the questions today. We want to thank you again for taking the time to listen to this live stream. And again, if you'd like to find out further information about the Diploma in Game Design and Development, you can also chat with our staff. Okay, as a link that is shown at the bottom there, we'll be available tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can just come in, and our lecturers will be there, and you can talk to them and get more information about the kinds of subjects, the kinds of games, if you'd like to find out further details. Okay, and I think that brings us to the end. Thank you again for your time. Okay, bye-bye.
Hi everyone, our students have developed our very own and very special TP Open House 21 app. Please check it out by scanning the QR code. Thank you and have a great weekend. Bye!